you ever find yourself outnumbered and maybe even outgunned? Be of good cheer. That probably means you're on the winning side. Hi, this is Barry Phillips, a 10-minute Torah, day number 1, the Torah portion, Vayeshev meaning, and he dwelt, which is the opening line of Bereshit or Genesis chapter number 37, where it says, and Yaakov or Jacob dwelt. That is, he dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan. Notice that the term for the land is still Canaan. It is yet to become prominently known as Eretz Israel. That's coming when it becomes a covenant fulfillment and the inhabitants of Canaan are finally driven out. So we've just completed in the previous chapter the reading of the long list of Esau's descendants. All the mighty kings and chiefs is what some translations use to describe these significant and powerful people. And after reading all of these names, one might wonder, how in the world is it that Yaakov, a simple shepherd, with flocks and herds and 12 arguing sons, will ever be a match for all of the mighty warriors of Esau? Esau, throughout the generations and all his representations of political systems, religious systems, and indeed political religious systems, how it is that we're going to be able to stand up against him and ultimately win in the end. Are we not outnumbered greatly? And does it not seem that Esau and all of his minions seem to hold the upper hand in power, authority, position, maybe even finance? We have to also understand that all the resources of the covenant belong to us. All the resources of heaven belong to us. And as the prophet prayed for Gehazi, Father, open his eyes that he may see. And Gehazi came exclaiming to Elisha. He said, there are more that are with us than there are those that are against us. When his eyes were opened, he saw the messengers of Yah in chariots and power surrounding him. So there is a realization that it's not flesh and blood that we're fighting against. Neither is it mere flesh and blood that is standing alongside us. We are well armed in the Ruach HaKodesh. We are well armed with the armies of Yah. We can have confidence that our Father in heaven has this, and everything is at our disposal. But back to the text, it says that Yaakov dwelt. That is to suggest that he sought to settle down. The conflicts are hopefully over. Esau has been appeased, at least for the near future. Lavan is nowhere in sight. He's back home. Yaakov finds himself in familiar territory. He has his wives, he has his children. Maybe now he can have some peace. Peace is a misnomer, however. I want to quote from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who explains that, quote, peace in this world is a lie compared to the peace of the world that is yet to come. Let me say that again. It's very important. Be sure you catch this. Peace in this world, that is this present world, is a lie compared to the peace of the world to come. In the world to come, that is in the kingdom and beyond, there's absolute unity and harmony, he says, and clear comprehension of the divine. That is, the knowledge of Yah will be able to cover the earth as the oceans cover the ocean floor. And in this present world, we perceive everything individually and divided. In this present age that you and I are living in, peace is most often summarized as the absence of turmoil or the absence of conflict. Peace is actually a poor translation of what is intended to be communicated in Hebrew, the idea of shalom. Shalom is not the absence of conflict, neither is it the absence of turmoil, but it is a sense of well-being and completeness, wholeness. Everything is accounted for. Everything is in its complete form, even in the midst of the testing of that. So a child that is sitting in a grade school classroom, not very often these days, it would seem, but a child that has been sitting under the tutelage of his teacher, receiving information. Once all the information has been given and the complete understanding has been offered to him, then there is the testing of that which has been given so that it can be determined as to whether all has been retained or not. So are the purposes of turmoil and tension, strife, times that would present anxiety and mistrust to us. Somewhat the state of conflict here in the United States at the moment. As we approach the end of the Gregorian year 2020, we find ourselves everything up in the air. We don't know who our leaders are going to be. We don't know what the answer to the violence in our streets is going to be. We don't know if the results of our elections are going to create more or less violence and upheaval. People are stressed. Lockdowns for the coronavirus are beginning to increase. Governors of various states are waxing more and more bold to issue decrees. People feel put upon. There's a boiling sense of resentment at the surface level. It used to be a little under the surface. Now it's coming to the top. And people are beginning to buck and beginning to push back. I foresee some days where there's going to be increased upheaval. I pray not, but it could very well happen. Will you have shalom in the midst of all of that? Will you retain your sense of well-being, a sense of being complete in Messiah, of having everything that you need in Him? We're not talking about bread and water and a place to sleep here as much as we're talking about the inner tranquility of the Spirit, where we have hope beyond this present moment, where we have focus beyond what is the immediate. Yaakov was settling for the immediate. Remember who else we've talked about doing the exact same thing. With the absence of struggle, we settle. Let me say that one more time. In the absence of struggle, we tend to settle. Think of a piece of wood and a piece of sandpaper. As the sandpaper is rubbed back and forth on the grain of the wood becomes smoothed. But then again, so does the grit of the sandpaper begin to wear down. Little by little until the abrasiveness of the sandpaper is gone and it's no longer productive. When you have worn the grit down on the sandpaper, what do? Throw it aside in the trash and you pick up another piece. But the wood that is being sanded, it is retained for a useful purpose. Those who bring about obstacles to us, those who present themselves as the source of our struggle, those that resist us, they are but a piece of sandpaper, and when their job is finished, Yah tosses them into the trash and they are forgotten. But you and I, the object of the sanding, of the abrasiveness, of the struggle, we are being polished and made smooth for a specific purpose of Yah's design and intention. Don't fear the sandpaper. Don't fear that which is abrasive to you at present. It will endure but for a season before it's tossed aside. It literally has no other value than that value that Yah intends for it to use and to produce something of better quality in us. Think on these things. And we'll talk more about these things throughout the week. We'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.